You guys, what you're about to hear is not just another boring news story. This is a big, big deal in history. Imagine a country that people didn't think much of before, now standing tall and doing something so amazing that the world just has to pay attention. This $20 billion deal is not just about a contract, not just about trading money. It's like a loud shout that says, India is ready to take on America's power. A big deal in history is never just a date on a calendar or a number on a paper. It's a special moment when things start to look totally different from how they used to. It's when the power doesn't sit in the same hands anymore. The $20 billion deal India made is not just a math problem or a business thing. It's a sign of a huge change. For many years, the world was run mostly by one country, the United States. They had a lot of power over trade, military stuff, and how countries talk to each other. But history is like a story that keeps changing. It changes because of big choices that show what countries really care about. India's choice is one of those big choices. It's a step that makes the world have to stop and think about everything they thought they knew. It makes them think about who their friends are. And it makes them see that a new fighter has entered the ring with a lot of strength. What makes this moment so special is not just how big the deal is, but why India did it. India is not happy just being a small part of the world's decisions. It wants to be a main person making the decisions. By agreeing to a deal this huge, India has told the world that it will not wait for others to give it permission or tell it that it's okay. Instead, it has decided to write its own future. History remembers these kinds of moments because they are like sparks that start bigger fires, just like how some agreements, friendships, and big changes in India's $20 billion deal the past changed big old empires and made the world go in a new direction. This deal is a sign that the story of who has power is changing. It's changing to a story where many countries have power and India's voice cannot be ignored. For the United States, this isn't just a deal they didn't get. It's a reminder that being on top doesn't last forever. Every empire in history thought it would last forever until a new country came to challenge that. This deal shows that America's choices will now be met with equally big moves from other countries, and India is leading the way in that. A big change is not always easy to see when it first happens. It often takes years or even a long time before people look back and realize that everything started to change at that very moment. But with this, the effect is happening right now, and you can't miss it. Governments, experts, and leaders all over the world are already changing their plans. They are already wondering if what they thought was right is still right. They are already getting ready for all the little effects that a brave move like this will create. India's rise has been happening for a long time. It's built on being tough, on new ideas, and on wanting to get past hundreds of years of being controlled and not taken seriously. This $20 billion deal is not the very beginning of its rise, but it's a huge sign that shows how far the country has come. It will be remembered as the moment when India stopped being seen as a follower and started to be seen as a leader who can set the speed of global change. That is what makes a true turning point in history. It's the moment when the world realizes that the rules are no longer the same and the future will be written by new hands. It's not just about money. It's about a country's destiny. That is the real point of this $20 billion deal, because its true meaning is way more than just numbers on papers or trading money between countries. Money can buy you things, buildings, or influence, but destiny is what shapes the future of people, a culture, and where a country fits in the world. This deal isn't just about money numbers. It's about India deciding to make its own space in the world and showing that it will not just watch others have power. It is about big plans turning into actions, dreams becoming real, and a country refusing to let others write its story. Destiny needs bravery. And this deal is a bold statement that India is not waiting for good things to happen to it, but is taking them on purpose. For many years, the world saw India as a place with a lot of people to sell things to, a part of the world system. But it was rarely seen as the one telling those systems what to do. With this deal, India changes from being a follower of trends to a creator's strength, against superpowers of them. That is what destiny is all about. It's not something that just happens by luck. It's something you choose, you build, and you fight for. By spending so much money, India is showing that it is willing to take risks, to have responsibility, and to lead in ways that will change how the future goes. The deal itself is a sign of freedom, a statement that is a reminder to the world that India's progress cannot just be seen in how much its economy grows or in new technology. It also needs to be seen in its decision to control its own story. Money can open doors, but destiny decides who walks through them with confidence. This deal shows India walking through the door of global leadership. It's carrying the confidence of a country that has faced problems, grown from being controlled by others, and now says that its time has come. It's destiny that changes a money trade into a message to the world. India will make its own path with its own important things and on its own rules. The importance of this moment is in the meaning that goes beyond just business. Money can go away, profits can be spent, but the destiny of a country lives on in the memories of its people and in the respect it gets from other countries. This deal is not just about getting things or making friends. It's about reminding every person that they belong to a country meant to get bigger, meant to have power, and meant to change how the world works. It tells kids in the future that the choices made today were not about getting something quickly, they were about a long-term plan that has the weight of history and the promise of tomorrow. This is why the $20 billion deal can't be seen as just a simple business thing, because its heart is not money. It is destiny happening right in front of us. You don't always show strength with weapons or with fighting. Sometimes you show it by making choices that change how people think and change who has power, strategic brilliance behind the decision without a single shot being fired. This $20 billion deal is India's brave announcement to the world that it is no longer a country that will just wait for others to say it's okay. It is strength, shown not by being mean, but by having a plan, confidence, and not giving up. This deal is not about fighting for attention, but about showing that India has what it takes to step onto the world stage as a powerful country that gets respect instead of asking for it. Strength is often seen in how brave you are to act with a plan, and at this moment, India has shown exactly that. For years, powerful countries in the world have seen India as a friend, a helper, or sometimes a country that helped balance things, but rarely as an independent, strong leader who could challenge the people in power. This deal sends a clear message that India has grown past the point of being told what to do by others. It is no longer the country that others can look down on or put into certain roles. The statement being made is that India has the power not just to be a part of what's happening in the world, but to change it with choices that affect everyone. Strength is in the ability to change the conversation, and this deal has done exactly that by making the world think again about how it sees India. What makes this a statement of strength is that India didn't give in to pressure or people trying to scare it. Big deals like this are never free from political problems or people watching them. But India has chosen to go forward with its own plans instead of changing for others. This is a strength that comes from inside, based on a country's belief in itself and a knowledge of the job it is meant to do. It shows that true power is not about being better than others, but about being free to make your own choices even when others are against you. By moving ahead so bravely, India has told the world that it will not be moved, and that its choices are made because of its own plan, not because it is scared. The main point of strength is not just in action, but in the message that action sends. This deal tells the world that India's rise is not something that might happen tomorrow, but something that is happening today. It's a reminder that strength can be quiet, but impossible to shake, smart, but with a big effect, and based not on fighting, but on a strong belief. When a country stands up and makes choices that change where it fits in the world's order, it does more than just help itself. It inspires others to see that power comes in many different lessons of courage for individuals' forms. This $20 billion deal is therefore not just a business trade, but a powerful statement written into history. It shows that India's strength is real, its decision is firm, and its time to lead has come. Bravery and not being afraid to fight back are two things that have always made big changes in history. And with India's $20 billion deal, they are the main things that made this decision happen. Bravery is not being without fear, but the choice to keep going even with risks. Fighting back is not being wild, but a strong refusal to accept limits that others put on you. Together, they are a powerful mix that sends big effects across the world stage. India's choice to go ahead with such a huge agreement shows both of those things. It shows that it is not scared to challenge the way things have always been done and not willing to stay in the shadow of the powerful countries. The bravery in this move is in its size and its timing. A huge deal like this gets the attention and close look of the whole world, especially from the United States, which has had a lot of power in shaping friendships and business deals in the world for a long time. To step into this and make a choice that directly goes against what people expect is a show of being bold. It needs confidence in your own strength, your plan, and your long-term strategy. Bravery is what changes a scary moment into a good opportunity, and India has shown it by turning what others might see as a risky bet into a clear action of standing up for itself. This is the kind of bravery that signals to its people and to the world that the country is ready to take control of its own future. Fighting back, on the other hand, is the spirit that refuses to give in to pressure or things told to you by others. For too long, powerful countries have tried to show nations like India how they should act. They tried to tell them what they should do and how they should act in the world. By getting this deal, India has basically said that it will no longer be stuck in the roles others put it in. Fighting back in this situation is not about being mean, but about being a free country. It is the strong stance that India will decide for itself on its own rules and for its own people. This refusal to bend under the pressure of expectations is what makes the deal so important, because it shows that India is thinking and acting on its own in a world often run by the will of a few powerful players. Bravery and fighting back together make an unstoppable force. Bravery lets India make the move, and fighting back makes sure it is not stopped by others who are against it. History has shown us throughout time how India inspires global change, that great changes are never made by those who just follow the path given to them. They are made by those who are brave enough to take risks and fight back enough to get through barriers. India's $20 billion choice shows both of these things. It becomes more than just a money trade. It becomes a statement of spirit, a declaration of being independent, and a brave act of leadership. It is this mix of bravery and fighting back that makes the deal a historic moment. One that tells the world that India is ready to stand tall, face problems head on, and refuse to be quiet when shaping its own future. A global balance shifting is one of the most important things about India's $20 billion deal, because it is more than just one country's business move. It shows the reordering of power and influence all over the world. For many years, the world's balance has been tilted to just a few powerful countries. With the United States at the center of military, political, and money control, this setup has shaped how countries get along, trade, and talk to each other. But history teaches us that no balance lasts forever. Power is always shifting, sometimes slowly and quietly, sometimes suddenly and with a big bang. This deal is a sudden moment because it shows that India is no longer happy just being a small part of power, but is ready to stand as a balance that cannot be ignored. The shifting of power is easy to see in how the world has reacted to this move. Countries are starting to figure out what it means for their friendships, their trade agreements, and their long-term plans. A $20 billion deal of this size is not just a regular trade. It is a sign of new power coming up. When one country bravely stands up for itself, others are forced to rethink their positions. The world's chessboard is suddenly moved, and the pieces start to go in a new way. India's decision has messed up the idea that power will keep going in the same direction it has for many years, and in doing so, it has sped up the move toward a world with many powers. The balance is not just about money, but about how people think. For years, developing countries have looked at a small group of countries as the only places with power. By breaking this idea, India has inspired others to believe that they too can go beyond the old limits. When a country stands up against the weight of old power, it does more than just change numbers. It changes how people see things. And how people see things is often the first step toward a true change in reality. India's action is sending a message to the world that the world's future will not be decided only by one power, but will be shaped together by many strong voices from different places. Oprah's insight on vision and destiny. This shift also brings a new kind of uncertainty to the old order. The United States and its friends now have to realize that their choices will not go unchallenged, and that power is no longer promised but must be earned. For India, this is more than just a plan. It is a statement that the time has come for the balance to show the way things really are in the 21st century, where new economies, countries with new ideas, and countries with rich cultures deserve to have an equal say. The balance of global power is like a scale. Whenever one side gets stronger, the whole thing tilts. India's $20 billion choice has added a lot of weight to one side, making a clear tilt that will only get bigger with time. The shift is already happening, and it marks the beginning where the voices shaping the world will be more different, more sure of themselves, and more evenly spread out than ever before. A revolution in disguise is often the most powerful kind of change because it comes without a warning. It looks like a normal event, but its effect shakes the world. India's $20 billion deal may look like a business or a smart agreement, but underneath, it has the energy of a revolution. Revolutions are not only fought on battlefields or in the streets, they are born in meeting rooms, in brave choices, and in countries refusing to be stuck in old systems of control. What makes this deal a disguised revolution is that it's subtle. It's not presented as a direct fight, but it breaks the existing way of things with the same force as an open fight. The disguise comes from how it has been shown as a matter of trade and business. Contracts, numbers, and signatures are what the world sees. But what is really underneath is the awakening of a new power balance. India is saying that it will not be a follower in the world story, but a leader who can change the direction of how countries get along. Revolutions in history have always begun with moments like this, when a country that was looked down on or not taken seriously decided to rise up and rewrite the rules. This deal follows that pattern, as it shows the break away from being dependent and the creation of a new identity that is not afraid to challenge the main centers of power. The revolutionary nature of this decision is also shown in the way it makes people think. Countries all over the world are now asking if the world is moving into a new time where power is no longer owned by just one country. For the United States, this is not just a loss of power over a deal. It is the realization that its unmatched power is being taken away by a country once motivational call to action seen as not important. For India, it is the quiet but firm announcement that its time has come. Revolutions rarely announce themselves with a big show. They come out through actions that you can't ignore. And this deal has become exactly that. What makes it revolutionary is that it changes the very idea of power. In the past, revolutions were about taking over land or getting rid of governments. In modern times, revolutions are about money freedom, new technology, and smart friendships that change how the world works. This agreement, while it looks like business, is really about freedom, being a free country and being able to make your own choices. It is about India breaking free from the pull of America's power and making its own way in world affairs. That is the point of a revolution. Not destruction for the sake of chaos, but transformation for the sake of freedom and growth. Though it looks like a trade deal, this decision has the heart of a rebellion and the plan for a new start. It is disguised because it does not wave the flag of revolt. But it is revolutionary because it shifts the balance, changes roles, and makes sure that the future will not look like the past. hidden behind the closing thoughts and inspiration business parts. And the smart plans is a movement that will be remembered for many generations, a revolution that wears the mask of a deal